In this video, we'll be demonstrating how to set up a clock timer function block. To add a new function block to our Controls tab, we first need to press the plus button. This will bring up our Add a Function Block dialog, and we can select from different types of function blocks. In this example, we're going to start with a clock timer. Once we press the clock timer icon, we'll get a new clock timer function block in our workspace. Pressing on the clock timer will open up the editor for the clock timer function block. We have three main tabs in our clock timer function block: our Rules tab, our Equipment tab, and our Enable Mode tab. At the top, we have a field where we can name the clock timer, whatever we may want to name it. On the left-hand side of the window, we have our rules list. Function blocks will start with one rule. We can add more rules by either pressing the New button or copying an existing rule. We can also delete rules by selecting a rule and pressing the Delete button. We'll start by configuring our first rule. In this example, we're going to set up a simple timer. We're going to enable the time range option, and we're going to turn on our exhaust fans from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. Next, we'll go into our Equipment tab, and we're going to select which output we want to operate. In this case, we're going to turn on an on-off type of output. We're going to select from our relay that we want to operate, and then we're going to select the output that we want to operate. If you see this dialog, it means that you are already using this output in another function block. If you intended for this to happen, you can ignore this message and close the dialog. Otherwise, you'll want to investigate the function blocks that are listed in this dialog to make sure that you aren't duplicating your control on an output. If we want, we can select and configure different rules in our function block enable mode. See the function block enable mode video for more detail on this option. Once we have our rules configured, we can press the Save button. At this time, if we are within the time range of the clock timer, the output that we have selected will turn on. If it is not within the time range, the output will not be turned on. If we want, we can create different rules and schedule them out according to the schedule settings. For example, our first rule we may want to only operate during our propagation schedule phase. We can save that, and if we want, we can create another rule and select the vegetative or another period that we want this rule to be active in and enter a different time range. We now have two different rules for this timer, one that will be active during our vegetative phase and one that will be active during our propagation phase. This concludes the setup and configuration for a basic clock timer function block.